It's an opportunity to create visibility for someone else who's listening, for them to see their journey in yours. That is remarkably powerful. That, I would say, might be one of the most, if not the most powerful things about audio podcasting specifically. Hi, I'm Christina Barcy. Welcome to the Boss Goddess podcast. This is your invitation to step out of the hustle and into your purpose and passion. What's my secret? Podcasting. This is how I've up-leveled my life on multiple occasions when I was ready to bring my dreams to life. And it's how I help my clients realize their big dreams. This is where you become the boss goddess in your niche and gently bring your dreams to life. Before we jump into this episode, I have a question for you. Are you a new coach who's feeling genuinely called to starting your own podcast, but you're getting overwhelmed the second it turns into a content hamster wheel of daily posts on social media, lots of clips, and starting a YouTube channel? I'm here to tell you that most successful podcasters did not begin with video. They started with audio and grew from there. You don't need fancy equipment. You don't need to start with a YouTube channel. And you don't even need to be on social media when you're starting your podcast. You just need to get clear on these three things. What success looks like for you when getting started, what matters now in the beginning and what doesn't, and how audio podcasting builds the very foundation for your new business. That's why I created a free audio podcasting action plan that will help you create a simple, grounded roadmap so you can start in the way that makes sense for you, your energy, and your budget so that you can let go of all that noise. You can download the simple action plan at boss-goddess.co/action plan and start mapping out your aligned starting point right now, because podcasting works best when it's serving you, not the other way around. You can grab it at boss-goddess.co/action plan or just click the link in the show notes. Now back to our episode. Hi, and welcome back. Today's episode is going to be a little shorter because I really just have a few new things that I want to share with you. So if you've been following along here, you may have noticed, one, that there have been a lot more episodes about podcasting lately. Obviously, this is something I care a lot about, that I'm passionate about. I have an entire production agency that I've created and have been operating for over 8 years now. And I have this podcast, which I started back in 2018. We did take 2 breaks amongst those years, but it's been something that I've loved to do. And whenever I do take a break, I totally miss it for so many reasons. And I've shared some of that here on this show before as well. But what I really want to share with you is my clarity around where we're headed as a brand, as a Boss Goddess brand. So if you've been here for a little while, and we're here back when the show was called Be Bold, Begin, which was the original title, I rebranded. I believe it was January of last year in 2025. And that was a strategic decision because I wanted to pair it with a new brand I was building, also called Boss Goddess. Boss-goddess.co is the website. We're going to talk more about that in just a moment. But at the time, I come from services. So podcast production services is what I've been doing for 8+ years, like I just mentioned. And what I started with in terms of the new brand I was building was more services, but I was leaning into things that felt more aligned and felt more sustainable and were more organic and SEO driven. And they were going to be sort of these lovely marketing services. So I was building a new team for that. And about a couple of months in, I realized that's not what I actually want to do. That's not where my heart is. That's not why I was starting this new brand. It felt really closely related to what I already had going on. We already offer marketing in my production agency for some clients. There was already an element of that happening. What I pulled apart from that experience was that what I really wanted, what I loved about what I was kind of creating with this marketing idea originally, was that I wanted to create ways to serve women that felt good to them. I wanted them to have strategies that didn't feel forced. I wanted to have strategies that felt like a breath of fresh air, that allowed them to kind of relax a little into the process and not feel hustled. And I was coming off of a lot of burnout. So to me, that felt like a really good lean in, not just for myself, but to offer others, because I was seeing this happening around me quite a bit. And there was this big sort of shift in how podcasts were being talked about. And they were going from this ability to sort of show up as you are and really led with authenticity to really moving into this visibility obsession, needing to be on video, needing to multi-purpose content create constantly to make yourself more visible on social media, and it was pulling everyone in every direction. People were pod fading, which is the podcast version of burnout. And I was seeing burnout pop up in multiple ways for people and in multiple categories in their life. So now the podcast is burning you out and your business is burning you out, because the two go together if you're doing a branded show, let's say. And branded show, by the way, just means you've got a brand or a business and your podcast is connected to that. That's it. And from all of this noticing, I wanted to create systems and strategies that I've seen work and that I wanted to learn more about and put to the test to make sure they work, SEO being one of them. I'm discovering some really great tools for those, by the way, that I can't wait to dig into and share with you, because it's not dead. SEO and AI totally work together. And if you talk to AI about AI and SEO, that's an interesting conversation to have, because it will tell you exactly how they're linked and how both work together and are important. So just a side note. But all of this noise was just creating exhaustion and confusion. And I wanted to create more clarity, not just for myself amidst all of this, as someone who sort of have been working in this space for a really long time, over a decade beyond the start of my agency, and really wanting to pave a path that's doable, that feels like something that you're still excited to show up for, or excited to show up for in the first place, and keeps you going in a way that just feeds on itself, right? Like the systems have to work together with the bigger goal. And if you're doing a branded show, if you're creating a business at the same time or wanting to, it has to be sustainable. And the way sustainable processes work is you have to have some kind of enjoyment. You have to be passionate about it. You have to understand your intentions. And the strategies have to follow that, not you trying to fit into a strategy because it feels like that's all there is. And that's what I was seeing. A lot of people feeling like there was just one template for success. And that became incredibly frustrating to me. And so at the heart of what I wanted Boss Goddess to be was a way for us to come back to ourselves, come back to our authenticity, come back to the thing that podcasting really is, which is an amplifier for those things, for the humanness, for connection, for deep engagement and trust building, and kind of remind us that this is the point. And how can we create strategies and structures that actually support the purpose that the purpose behind the podcast, the reason we do this in the first place, and the purpose behind the business, the reason we want to build a business. And it's kind of a meta conversation because I was building my brand and business through this conversation with myself and just what I was observing and noticing from the way people were coming to my agency with inquiries, and then women that I would just meet in other spaces that would be asking me, is it still worth it? And yes, absolutely, because your voice and your message will always and forever be worth it. You will always be worth it. And to me, if you have a platform where you can share that with someone who needs to hear what you have to say, and you have an invitation to invite them into your world, that is always, always worth it. So we need to be able to support that with strategies that we want to show up for, that we can show up for, that are energizing and not draining. So I realized just offering marketing services with these strategies in place and hiring another team and all of that wasn't really the way I wanted to pursue this. When I asked myself what I really wanted to create, it was more opportunities to collaborate and connect, and ways for you to pace yourself, to be able to do it at your own time, your own pacing, your own budget, your own everything, and to show you how you can start with audio. You don't need to start with video. In fact, you can skip it altogether if you want to. And there are other ways to grow and be impactful. And so I've spent this last year learning a lot about marketing, but really leaning into creating courses and touch points and entry points and simple ways for you to do what you need to do, to begin, to use your voice, to create space for the connection and the trust and the communities that you want to build, because that's what it's all about. So everything has shifted to courses and something I'm really excited about, a membership. And I've talked about memberships before. This is different. This is really focused and it's more actionable. It's really about getting you into implementation and teaching on a regular basis. So that's in the works. It's not open yet, but it's coming soon. And the best way to really see how all of this has shifted, which is why I'm announcing it to you now, or why I'm sharing it with you now, is I finally redid the website. So boss-goddess.co. I hired some copywriters and designers last year for the original idea that I just shared with you that I thought was going to be, like a marketing agency. And I loved the way the design came together, but all of the copy had to change because it didn't represent what I actually wanted to create. So I just spent the whole weekend redoing the website, and it feels so good to finally see what's been inside my brain for so long. And also, building courses can take a little time. So that's what I've been working on. And there are just a few listed there now, just a couple. And then, of course, I have the structure for the membership in the works as well. It's just a matter of rolling that out. So I want to invite you to take a look at the new website, boss-goddess.co. The headline is now Podcasting and Intuitive Business for Women. And we teach coaches, healers, and spiritual entrepreneurs how to create podcasts that develop the one thing every business needs, trust. And it's so true. We're in this interesting place right now where trust is harder to come by. Podcasting is one of those beautiful spaces where we get to have an intimate experience with someone that maybe we've never met. Maybe we have, it depends, right? But probably not. And it just has a different experience than scrolling social media or watching an influencer that we love. It's warm, it's human, it's authenticity at its best, because it's really hard to lie on the mic. Let's be honest. If people can tell if you're not being authentic or being yourself. They can hear it in your voice, they can hear it in the vibe and the tone, all that good stuff. So it was really fun to really get this stuff on paper, in a sense, right, on the web, and really talk about who you are and how I want to help you. And it really helped me clarify, I really do love working with people who are at the beginning of something, whether that's, a new coaching practice, or if you're a new spiritual entrepreneur, or you're an aspiring author, or you're just building something new, you're moving from one thing to the other. Maybe you're moving from corporate to entrepreneurship. Maybe you're experiencing life and business after grief or a diagnosis. Podcasting is a great space for these kinds of expressions. And then, of course, if you're starting a podcast, then you're beginning that as well. And the two just pair so well together because of the nature of what it is. It's expression. It's an opportunity for you to process. It's an opportunity to create visibility for someone else who's listening, for them to see their journey in yours. That is remarkably powerful. That I would say might be one of the most, if not the most powerful things about audio podcasting specifically, because here's one of my arguments for it. When we don't have to watch the person who's speaking, meaning when there isn't an extra element of watching, and we are experiencing something that we might feel alone in, let's say, or isolated in, or like we're the only one, or fill in the blank, right? Personal story, or even a struggle or problem solution. It could be any of that. When we aren't focusing on the video, the person who's talking, we get to really focus on ourselves as we listen. So we're going to be able to process that really differently than when we're watching. And there's a different kind of magic that happens when we give someone more space in this way. So I'm a bit adamant about audio for all of these reasons, because it's actually really great for the brain. It's just different. And there's studies on this. I've been looking up statistics lately as I'm creating things about, who is still listening, who's interested in, like, are the stats supporting video, or are those stats that are yelling about video, the video brand, the video agencies, right? Like YouTube, Google owns YouTube, things like that. And the truth is, I found an interesting statistic that said actually 84% of people are still listening versus those who are only watching. A lot of people do both, but 84% are listeners. That doesn't mean they're not also video watchers, by the way. I want to be clear about that. But that's a huge number. It's not this big skew of like, oh, everyone left audio and they're all listening, or they're all just watching video. And that does not mean that you can't do video. It doesn't mean that I haven't done video, and it doesn't mean that YouTube as its own sort of entity and algorithm and platform and whatnot isn't a visibility tool. But what it doesn't mean, what I'm trying to share here, is that one does not cancel out the other. Listenership, or those who are showing up for podcasts, are just showing up in multiple ways now, and most of them want to experience both. So you can always scale into video if that's something that's interesting to you, that you want to do, that fits your lifestyle and your systems and processes and whatnot. But it also depends on what you're creating. Not everything is best on video. Some things are going to be much better translated through an audio medium. So that's part of what I'm sharing here, is it's really about what is going to work for you, and you don't have to sacrifice your success in order to do that. And the more I realized this for myself, and the more I thought about this when sort of revisiting what I wanted Boss Goddess to be, the more I realized that that's true. And the more statistics I found that support that. And the more people I talk to that are doing just fine and who agree and who are industry leaders as well. And so that's what I want to share with you. That's what I want to show you. I want to create a space for women. We just experience things a little differently. We have a lot more life stages, and we do more, let's be honest. So the flexibility that can exist for this process is pretty amazing. And that's what got me into it in the first place, was the fact that you could do it for $0. You could do it with no equipment. You could do it with, you can start so simply. It's just about the message in the beginning, and then you go from there, and then you layer in the strategy, and then you start layering in, the bells and whistles as you scale, very much like a startup. One of the things that I found really interesting when going to conferences and sharing ideas and talking to other startups, the one piece of advice that was always consistent was, don't go build the big thing. Don't make it shiny yet. Make it a Google Doc. Share that first. Make it a simple spreadsheet and see if people will engage with that. Don't do anything that costs any money. And I thought that was really interesting. So it's interesting to me now, just to share this, that we think that doesn't apply to other endeavors when it does. We want to start where we are, and we want to build from a place that really allows what you want to say to shine, and really allows your message and your core values and the reason you're showing up to be the thing. And then the rest, you just need to sound enough, you need to sound good enough that people aren't going to turn you off, right? And this is my specialty, is helping people go from that sort of palatable place to really upscaling. And then it depends. We're all starting with different budgets. We're starting with different bandwidth, timeframes, abilities, and expertises. And you can pull on all the levers that you have, and everyone has different ones. So that's the beauty of something like a membership, because you can tailor it to your situation, and you can go bells and whistles if you want to, if that works better for you. So this is what I've been working on. I'm really excited about it, if you can't tell. And I just wanted to share that with you before we jump into more sort of tactical episodes around how to do things and conversations around how to build brands and all that good stuff. So I've been having a good time delving into this more, because it truly is a passion of mine, because I truly believe that we need more women's voices in the arena. So that's you. Maybe that's you. Maybe that's you. So go check out the website. I would love to know what you think. You can either leave a review and tell me that way, or you can send me a little message. I just added a contact page. It'll be in the footer if you want to just send me a little message that way through the website. That's a fun way to connect to. And maybe I'll see you on the inside. Maybe I'll see you in one of the programs. But till then, stay tuned. I will keep you posted on when the membership starts to roll out and all that good stuff. But whatever you're working on, whatever you're doing, if there's one thing you take away from this episode today, I would love for it to be that you deserve to be heard, and that what's on your heart to create and say and share is 100% needed and worth it. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to the Boss Goddess podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and found it valuable, please share it with someone in your life who would also benefit. Word of mouth is still the best way to share podcasts. And I would also love to hear from you in the form of a review on Apple Podcasts. This really helps new listeners discover the show as well. And it makes this process for me so much more fulfilling to hear from you. Wishing you lots of love and magic. Until next time.